You're listening to the Way of TBL's official podcast, Truth Talks with Sam and Alex.
Join us as we explore all things truth, beauty, and love.
Welcome back to yet another episode of Truth Talks with Sam and Alex. And today's topic of conversation will be navigating the world of unintentional disingenuity.
Yeah. To be genuine is the art of knowing who you are at your core and living your truth each and every day.
Absolutely. And doing it as best we can with each passing day.
Mhm.
And the song that comes to mind, this just came to mind to me before we started this episode, just a few seconds ago, is the song Where I Lay My Head Is Home by Metallica. And that's really fitting because to have that internal strength and resilience, it's what makes us genuine. Because to be
Yeah.
genuine is to stand on your own 2 feet, to take the essence of what feels like home to you, even when you're out and about in the world, and to do so with compassion, with empathy, in a way that invites others to also experience what it feels like to be genuine, to come to know who they are, to come to learn what that feels like for themselves and experience the immense empowerment and freedom that comes from doing so. And the title of the song is actually Wherever I May Roam. And that's one of the lines in the song. Wherever I lay my head is home. To have that feeling
Yeah.
with you wherever you go, no matter what the circumstances are, is true strength.
Absolutely. And it's really so important to be able to be that way because like you said, we are then inviting others to do the same. And that's not seen all too often anymore. A lot of the times, people may have a perspective or an opinion on something, and yet when other people come in with their own perspectives and their own opinions, they seem to quite easily be able to change what they think to go along with what the people around them think. And that's not being genuine. And so to be able to stand your ground and remain in your truth no matter what anyone around you thinks is such a unique quality to have. And as what's the word, as weird as it may feel initially, it really does fill you with such a feeling of empowerment. And that's just such a great thing to be able to feel and to be able to move through life with.
Exactly.
Mm,
Yeah. And in so doing, we inspire others to do the same. And that's what we
yeah.
ultimately want to do is live in a way that's inspiring, that frees others from the mental prisons that they've inherited and that they've
Hmm.
taken on as their own. And that's
Hmm.
what's happening a lot of the times when people feel like they can't express themselves freely, truthfully.
Hmm. Exactly.
And that's
You become
exactly,
very much.
yeah.
Mm. No, you become very much a people pleaser, and I
Hmm.
know that we both have
Yeah,
experienced with
intentionally
that.
or unintentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and that does no one any favors.
No, at least of all yourself.
Exactly. And the backdrop for this episode will be our article on the same subject matter with the same title, Navigating the World of Unintentional Disingenuity, a deep dive into the psychology of sincerity and authenticity. Are we as genuine as we think we are? And A key word here is unintentional because you cannot be genuine if you don't know who you are first. If you haven't come to a clear understanding and awareness of what you stand for, what your values and your principles are, you really haven't come to an understanding of who you are. And that's
Yeah,
where we have to start. We've got to start there first. We have to turn inward and figure that out, get clarity on who we are, what we stand for, what we care about, before we can say that we're genuine. Because
mm,
otherwise, we're taking on other people's opinions, other people's
yeah,
perspectives as our own, even though internally we may not feel like we agree with everything that we've been told. So that has to
yeah,
come first. And because of that, most people are unintentionally people pleasers. They're
yeah,
unintentionally disingenuous.
absolutely.
Yeah, even if they don't mean it. But it's because they haven't figured themselves out. And that's part of what we're going to dive into today. It's a fundamental aspect of what it means to be a genuine person. It's coming to figure yourself out.
Absolutely. And that's how you become a more conscious individual as well, is being aware of all of these things. And the more genuine you become, the more conscious of yourself you are also.
Exactly. And you can help other
Mhm.
people, those that you care about, those that you love, come to resolve these internal conflicts that you're familiar with, these
Mhm.
internal conflicts that they have. And seeing someone who's been able to overcome them, seeing someone who's been able to experience such satisfying resolutions to those internal conflicts is inspiring, and it helps
Yeah,
people. It lets them know that they'll be all right overcoming these challenges with grace, with ease, even, and it'll
yeah,
make all of the
definitely.
effort in the
Mhm.
process worthwhile.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
we are products of our environment. You know, we always
all
learn through example rather than what is spoken a lot of the time. You know, we again, you see it in children the most. You might tell them something, but if you yourself do not embody what it is that you were trying to teach them, they will not get it because they will see your actions and they will follow what you do as a parent. It just is. That's how we work as humans. You know, we are constantly following examples. And so, yeah, it's very important.
absolutely. Because
Mhm.
if you don't embody what you want to teach, if you don't walk the walk along with your
Yeah.
talk, it won't be felt. And that's what children do. They observe, they feel. And that's what we do as well. Even as
Mhm.
adults, we continue to stay learning. We continue to be students of life. And so we continue to
The only
learn by
difference,
example.
yeah, the only difference between children and adults is your age, honestly, and then your level of maturity then comes into play. But yeah, there really is not much difference between a child and an adult when it comes to the way that we learn and think.
Yeah. And one of the most genuine people that I can really reflect and think
Mm,
about when it comes to that understanding is Mr. Rogers, because
yeah.
he spoke to everyone on the same level. He understood that more than a vast majority of people ever will. Children and adults are one and the same. Adults are just big
Yeah.
kids continuing to figure out life and learn more about it. And that's the most powerful place to live and to experience life from when you become completely aware of that, because you'll never stop learning and you'll
Mm,
never stop living either as a result.
yeah,
We die when we stop learning.
exactly.
Like Benjamin Franklin said, most people die at 25 and they're buried at 75. They die because they stop learning. They become fixed in their mind about how life works. And yeah, we always want to remain students of life,
Definitely.
and we learn by example. That's why our example is so powerful. And when we learn to be genuine, we are coming from the most powerful place as teachers
Mhm.
and people who live consciously. And we have a quote here at the beginning of the article by Anthony Gucciardi. This is such a powerful quote. It reads, I have a lot of respect for genuine people. They might not be perfect, but at least they're not pretending to be. And that really sums it up so beautifully because when we don't pretend to be anything more than what we are, we have a very clear perception of what we've learned and what we have yet to learn. And we also remember that we're not better than anyone, and we're also not worse than anyone. We're just on our own level of awareness.
Exactly.
We're able to remain compassionate with others who haven't learned the lessons that we have, who haven't gone through the journey that we have. And that is one of the challenges of being genuine, is remaining compassionate with those that perhaps don't understand us. I know
Exactly.
that I've experienced that when it comes to Samantha's family. You know, it's been a challenge to remain compassionate when they don't understand the impact and the positive influence that I've had on Samantha's life and my two girls, Maria and Amelia, Samantha's daughters. You know, when so much time has passed and none of that is really acknowledged, or they're not really open to understanding it just yet, because I would like for them to at this point in time. I have to remain compassionate with that and not take that to heart, not take it as a slide on me. And we had a conversation about this earlier. All of it is about being compassionate and not feeling the need or the desire to burn a bridge
Mhm.
because it's not necessary. Everyone is on their own level of development. And part of being a genuine person is remembering that. To
Yeah.
remain yourself, no matter what anyone thinks or says, to not let yourself take anything personally
Mhm.
because people can
Exactly.
only come at you with their level of consciousness. They can only interact with you on their level of development.
And we don't have to necessarily agree with what people's opinions are, but we can accept them for what they are and understand why it is that they may have this opinion or perspective on something, even if they don't understand it. People are always going to have an opinion, and that never changes anything. If people's opinions are changing who you are and how you do things in life, then you're not being genuine. You're being swayed in the direction of people pleasing, So it's, yeah, as much as people may have opinions, it's remembering not to take it personally. It's
Yeah,
really, like you said, having compassion and understanding where that person's level of development is and why they see things the way that they do. And again, remembering that the only thing that can ever help them to learn and grow and heal from things is to continue being that example, to continue walking in your truth despite what anybody has to say, because that is what then they will see and and feel the truth in your energy. And that's what then helps people start to self inquire, but again, you can only speak to someone on something when they're open and willing to speak about something. You can't just try to make people understand why things are a way that they are when they don't see it, when they don't
Yeah.
get it. There is no point in trying to force a conversation or force an understanding on someone. It's never going to happen. They have to be open and willing to want to understand. And then that is what brings the opportunity for a conversation to happen that can then help them to open their mind to other perspectives also. But we definitely have to meet people where they are at.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. And it'll all happen at the right time. You
Yeah.
can't force that. The bridge remains open always.
Mhm.
Just because you put your heart and soul into building that bridge, making it strong, doesn't mean that people are going to walk through it on your
Mhm.
time when you would like them to. And that doesn't mean you burn the bridge either, right?
Mhm. Exactly.
They might take a flight to get to you. They might not even walk on the bridge, but the bridge remains an option. It remains
Yeah.
that invitation as a representation of that invitation from you to them to
Of
always
course,
come as
unless
they
they
are.
burn it themselves.
Exactly, of course. And then that's
Right?
on them. That's not on you.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of who
Sometimes,
they are and not a reflection of who you are.
exactly. We can accept people for who they are, but at the same time, we too must have our own boundaries. To be open to someone that constantly comes with negativity, with spitefulness, with, toxicity, that's not exactly something that you are going to want to invite, because clearly there is there is no understanding there. They don't want to understand. They just want to come at you and show you why they're right. They're not
Yes,
willing to learn. They're not willing to accept you for who you are. And that's where you then have to clearly see when someone is being that way. And again, like I said, we are a product of our environment. And so if we continue to allow that kind of energy into our lives, it will at some stage start to have an impact on you. And so, yeah, that's just where you must remember that although you are genuine, the most genuine thing is to stick by your boundaries and not allow anybody to cross them. Because allowing people to cross those boundaries is you not keeping to that genuinity within yourself.
exactly. And remembering
Yeah.
also that choosing to misunderstand you is also a thing.
Mhm.
When others have ample opportunity to come to get to know you, choosing to misunderstand you is a choice that that person is making. And you have no control over that.
No.
You have zero control over that. All you can do is continue to be yourself. You know who you are. You know what your life is about. And you live by that, regardless.
Mhm.
Again,
Yeah.
you don't take
Exactly.
it personally. They don't pay your bills.
No.
They don't feed you or clothe you. They don't owe you anything. And you
Mhm.
don't owe them anything either. You remain true to yourself, always, indifferent to the opinions of others. And there's a strength in that,
Oh, yeah.
a very
Absolutely.
powerful strength that we're going to dive into in even deeper, greater detail in this article. And without further ado, the article reads: to be genuine is to have a perpetual desire to match up your ideals with your patterns of thinking and behavior, as well as endeavor to bring the best out in yourself and others. Genuine people also desire to live more consciously and self aware in order to ultimately become who they are at their core as unique expressions of consciousness and universal intelligence. The truth is that a vast majority of people today are still seeking to find who they are and where they belong in the world around them, now more than ever. In this article, we will explore the complexities of human interaction and unravel the elusive enigma of unintentional disingenuity in order to avoid the potential traps that come with the fleeting benefits of being inauthentic. And remember, before I continue reading, that to be genuine is simple, but it's not easy. It is a muscle that must be exercised. And we're taught from very early on to focus on pleasing other people. And
Yeah.
so, with the same token, that is a muscle that has become so tight, that has been flexed so hard throughout our life, that to stop doing things to avoid being rude, to stop doing things in order to express yourself fully, will
Mhm.
be difficult to do at first.
Oh, definitely.
It will be
Oh,
a
yeah.
challenge. Make no mistake
But
about
then,
that.
yeah. And the more aware you become of being genuine or being a people pleaser, the more you will also feel the effects when you go against what it is that you actually want. I remember, I recall this one time, it was quite early on in my personal development, and I was a new driver, right? I had only just got my driver's license, and I was at a get together with my family, and my stepdad needed a lift to go home. Now, his place wasn't too far away. However, my house was all the way on the other side of the city, and it was already going to take me about 2 hours to get home. So, taking him home would have added on about another half an hour. And I really didn't want to. It's like, oh my God, there are so many people here. My brother lived only 5 minutes away from his home. It's like, why can't someone else take him home? Me, who already has 2 hours to get home, to add on another 30 minutes is just, I was tired. I wanted to get home. But because I didn't want to say no, I didn't want to, have him have to ask someone else or have to get a taxi. I was just like, yeah, sure, that's okay. I'll take you home. But I wasn't happy about it. And what happens? Well, I end up getting a fine that night because I was such a new driver. I was driving in an area that I didn't know. I was trying to focus on both my GPS and where I was driving. And there was a moment in the road where the speed dropped from 80 kilometers down to 60 kilometers. And I missed that sign. I didn't realize that that the speed limit had dropped. And because I was confused as to where to go, I was trying to follow the GPS. He was trying to tell me where to go. I just I missed it completely and I ended up getting a speeding fine that night. And so it took me an extra half an hour to get home. I got a speeding fine and I got home just feeling so annoyed and angry. I was like, I knew I didn't want to take him. Why didn't I just tell him the reason why I couldn't? And I know he would have understood it. I could have said to my brother, hey, Michael, could you please take Bob home so that it doesn't take me an extra half an hour to get to my house? But instead of saying that, I just went the route of people pleasing and just being okay with it when really I wasn't. But I saw the effects of that. The effects of not speaking my truth was me getting home later and me getting a speeding fine.
Hmm,
And so, yeah, I have seen that more and more. The more aware you become of this, the more the effects then start to hit because you know better. And when you know better and you
exactly.
go against it, yeah, you will be affected even more from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with the same token, on the other side of the coin, it is such a beautiful thing to see how other people are positively affected and how you feel internally
Hmm.
when you do what you know is true for you. When you express
Exactly.
yourself and carry yourself in a way that is true to you, I will always remember the day that I made the conscious choice to reach out more to other people, to continue further developing my communication skills.
Hmm.
As a prior member of the Jehovah's Witness faith, I would go to assemblies, which are basically these big conventions where people from different congregations in that state would get together to listen to other speakers teaching from the Bible and giving their own perspective. And typically, everyone goes to meet everyone that they already know, and they don't really make an effort to get to know other people or speak with others or interact or connect with other people. And I remember just sitting in the auditorium and I had a moment of awakening. It's the purest form of awakening that I can describe. And I awakened to the realization and the experience of oneness. It was beyond anything that was being taught there, it's beyond any religious perspective. It is the what I can ultimately describe as the experience of oneness. That no matter what we feel, no matter how we perceive life, no matter what our beliefs are, we are all one. We are interconnected in ways that we understand, and many more ways we are yet to understand and appreciate. And as soon as there was an intermission, I literally got up and started saying hello to everyone around me. And I remember the looks that I was getting. Some people were bewildered, some people were happy, some people felt good, some people loved that I was saying hi to them, and others were weirded out. But I remember feeling completely indifferent to how everyone perceived or thought about what I was doing. I knew that I wanted to, and that's all that really mattered. And I knew that ultimately I was going to inspire other people to connect and communicate with each other, to engage in different experiences. And I do this. This becomes tradition for me at other assemblies to just meet other people. And I see at one of the assemblies a few other young men that I had met at previous assemblies start saying hello to other people
Hmm.
when I knew they weren't doing that before. And I'll never forget what that made me feel. And I'll always remember how powerful our example can be when we live and do what we know is true for us. And the feeling is completely indescribable. We're always disservicing ourselves when we pretend to be okay with doing things in a way we know is not true for us. And with the opposite token, we will always feel incredible and this immense freedom and sovereignty when we do what is true for us.
Hmm.
And we free others in the process. There's nothing more beautiful than that.
Hmm.
We aspire to
Yeah.
inspire other people to become more free, to become more of who they truly are and what do what they truly want to do.
Hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. And continuing to read the article, the next subheading reads Understanding the unconscious pretender and superficial sincerity. Many seem to act out of good intentions and come off as sincere in the way they carry and express themselves. However, their patterns of thinking and behavior over time often reveal that much more is going on beneath the surface. If we pay close attention, these are things that won't take us too long to take notice of at all. Many may seem nice, and yet are not kind. Many may hear, and yet do not listen. Many may perceive, and yet do not see. Many make promises, and yet do not remain true to their word. Many speak, and yet say nothing of real substance. Many may seduce, and yet know nothing of the essence of true romance, and so on. Once this becomes clear to us, the next lesson we must come to learn is that even if someone seems sincere enough in their efforts, that doesn't necessarily make them a genuine person. This provides us with a powerful roadmap for life filled with insights for understanding human psychology and social interaction. And that list I read earlier is the difference between someone who uses their ability to communicate to manipulate circumstances
Hmm.
and someone who is truly able to understand reality as it is and go from there with the way that they
Yeah.
interact with life.
Hmm.
A lot of people just impose their opinions and their preconceived notions and understandings onto other people, onto different life situations.
Hmm. There's a difference between being genuine or being very egotistical in the
Yeah,
way that you go about things. Someone that is so completely stuck in the immature parts of their ego will always make everything about them.
yeah.
It's always about me.
Someone
And
who,
that's why.
yeah,
Hmm.
someone who seems nice and yet isn't kind
Hmm.
in the way that they behave, in the way that they truly feel and think about things.
Hmm.
They can
In the way
seem
that
so
they
nice to you
act.
and then
Hmm.
talk about you behind your back
Oh yeah.
disrespectfully.
Hmm. Absolutely. They're
Niceness
nice to your
is not the
face.
same as kindness. Yeah.
No, that's right.
They're sure not to sound rude or act rude, but they'll do completely the opposite behind closed doors. That is not true
Hmm.
kindness. In conversation, when you're speaking with someone, when you're being heard
Yeah.
but not listened to, there isn't any real communication going on. They're just waiting to
No.
speak.
Yeah. They're
They're
just
not
waiting to
really trying to see
respond
where
to
you're
you.
coming from. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're waiting to respond to you with what they already think in their mind.
Hmm.
That happens a lot of the
Yeah.
time when
Oh
someone's on
gosh,
a
it
date.
does.
Yeah, when someone's on a date, they're just waiting to speak. They're waiting
Hmm.
to see how they can manipulate the conversation to get what they want out of the date, which
Hmm.
is a lot of the times just sex and pleasure,
Yeah.
not really communicating with the other person or seeing where they're at in terms of how they feel about things, what the
Yeah.
energy is in the conversation, in the room that they're both sharing.
Mm-hmm.
There's very little feeling. It's all mental, and it's only coming from their point of view.
Hmm.
They're perceiving the other person, but they're not seeing them in truth.
Yeah. They
That's the
have this,
difference. Yeah,
yeah, they have this image of this person in their mind and what this person could be in their life without truly getting to know that person on a soulful level. There's a huge difference. A lot of the times when people are in the dating world, they say, "What's your type?" Right?
right.
And people will point out all these surface level, superficial things that are their type. I like a tall, dark, handsome man with muscles, with a great smile. Like, okay, but like, what's beneath the surface? What do you seek internally from that person? Because you know what? You might find your ideal type, but then when you truly get to know that person on a soulful level, you may come to see that they are nothing like you and that you have nothing in common with that person. And so when you first come to like meet someone that fits that, that fits that status of what is your type, you you can easily get lost in those thoughts of what if, and picturing this person as this ideal person in your life. And initially, a lot of the deeper things don't come up straight away because conversations don't go to that level yet, right? There's a lot of uh, that surface level instant gratification that goes on first. And so it's like, oh my gosh, this person is perfect and they've got a good job and they make good income and they, you know, but yeah, what goes on beneath the surface, that is what is truly important, because that is what
Yeah.
is either going to make or break it. It really has nothing to do with the external. And yet, so many people place these expectations on people that they just meet. And they are lost in infatuation and lust for this person that for a very long time they may miss on the signs of why they are actually not compatible with that person, because they have placed this image on them and the role that they could play in their life, and they just completely miss everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it ends up being such a such a loss of time and
Yeah.
energy for you trying to fit
Mhm.
that person into your mold, as opposed
Exactly.
to seeing things for what they are, staying true to yourself, and not selling yourself short or for anything less than what you're truly looking
Mm,
for.
exactly.
Again, that comes from you living genuinely, and that takes
Yeah.
time to observe that same genuineness in another person.
Mhm.
Observation of the way they carry themselves, the way they express themselves, observing whether they have integrity or lack
Mhm.
integrity in any aspect of their life.
Yeah.
It requires presence with that person over a particular period of time.
Mhm.
All of
Absolutely.
that is required. But again, it starts with you being true to
Mhm.
yourself first, you being
Yeah.
genuine and straight up with yourself first about and not playing
Yeah.
yourself.
Ex- Yeah. And not just settling for less than what it is that you truly want, because you're in control of all of that. And nobody is perfect,
Again,
right? We are
that's not what
always
we're
a
looking
work in
for at the
progress.
same time.
No, no, exactly. We're
Perfection
not
is
looking.
boring.
That's right. Yeah. It's
Seriously.
a willingness to grow. It's a willingness to, yeah, to grow as a couple and to create a true life together.
Yeah.
There's so many people in relationships and yet they lead completely separate lives. I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand how I kind of do because I've been there before, but to really truly have this thriving family unit, you just must be so close to your partner that you are growing together, you are creating life together. Sure, people might be happy doing their own thing and then just coming together for a few hours in the afternoon and that's it, right? They're content with that, but they are also capping their growth at the same time. And again, that's completely okay, right? Whatever you're happy with is good. As long as you are living a happy and fulfilling life where you are at and you're not seeking more, then that's completely okay. But for individuals that do seek out, further personal development, wanting to self actualize and living more consciously, the person that you are going to build that life with must align with your values and principles in life.
Yeah. And when you feel
Yeah.
that something is missing,
Hmm.
when you get that feeling within, you cannot pretend that you don't feel it.
Yeah.
That's part of it as well.
Oh, yeah. Intuition. That is always your intuition speaking to you. And as much as people try to ignore it, it is there. It is something that you may put at the back of your mind. You're trying to bury it, but it will always be there. And it is always best to face these things straight away so that there is nothing ever lingering.
Yeah.
Because what will happen is over time, you will start to resent certain aspects of this person or even within yourself
Yeah,
because you
that
have
again, that
actually,
starts
it
internally
comes from
first.
you.
It
It does.
does. People
Yeah.
who can't trust other people don't trust themselves. People who
Hmm.
feel like the world is always out to get them are typically the people that are taking advantage of others,
Exactly.
So it
Yeah.
starts with you. You're the one that
Hmm.
has to start trusting yourself. That's
Yeah.
how other people will trust you, and so
Hmm.
on.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that this
Yeah.
is actually a perfect segue into the next
Hmm.
subheading of our article, which it reads The Missing Links of Authenticity. To be genuine, one must possess a full understanding of oneself. It is impossible to be real and authentic if you don't know who you are at your core. This self knowledge forms the foundation of authenticity and allows us to express our unique consciousness and intelligence to the world. Genuine individuals strive for self awareness, continually exploring their inner depths to better understand their thoughts, emotions, and motivations. By embracing their true selves, they are better equipped to navigate the complexities of genuine connections and communication. Those who haven't fully grasped these concepts experience internal conflicts and struggles because, as stated previously, in not knowing who they are missing some of the fundamental aspects of authenticity. This is all reflected in the way that this kind of person connects and interacts with you, with others, and the way they go about sharing their message with the world, or their opinions, their perspectives, the meaning that they have found in life, and their
Hmm.
interpretation of that meaning. All of that
Yeah.
is a part of it too. The way they
Absolutely.
project their fears and their insecurities onto other people are just, again, a reflection of who they are.
Mhm. I guess that is your message to the world,
Yeah,
whether you are aware of it or not. We
exactly. We
always
all have a
have
message
a
to share.
message. Yeah, we always do.
It's
And
not just about being an influencer or a thought leader. Like, no,
mm-mm,
we all have a message and we share it through our opinions, through our
yeah.
complaints, through our celebrations. We all have a message to share. It is our voice. Whether we feel like we have a voice or not, we are always
Hmm.
voicing our opinions, whether in secret or out
Yeah.
in public. We're always expressing ourselves, unless we can't speak at all or don't know how to
Hmm.
communicate,
Yeah. But then it's
even
just
if
an
it's through
internal
sign
dialogue.
language. Exactly.
Yeah.
We always have a way to communicate how we're feeling. We just get better at it the better we understand
Hmm.
ourselves. But we always have a message to share. And the article continues to read The energetic front. An energetic front often accompanies insincere interactions. There is a noticeable disconnect between their projected image and their underlying energy. Genuine individuals, on the other hand, maintain energetic consistency regardless of the situation. Their authenticity shines through in the way they carry themselves and engage with others. By being aware of these energetic dynamics, we can discern whether the interactions we encounter are genuine or veiled by disingenuity. Trusting our intuition and seeing beyond surface level appearances allows us to navigate the labyrinth of sincerity more effectively. And yeah, it's all about seeing things for what they are,
Mhm.
not pretending
Yeah.
otherwise. And when we do that, we experience a lot less internal struggle.
Oh, definitely. As we've mentioned in previous episodes, the more self-aware you become, the more you're also able to understand about other people.
Yeah,
You can see all the subconscious patterns in them, in the way they speak, in the way they do things, in the way they even look, that their facial expressions, everything that people do is constantly showing their subconscious thinking. It
yeah,
just is. You can't hide that. You're just not aware
exactly.
of it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
man, it is so funny that we're talking about this because right now we're playing Mass Effect together. We're
Yeah.
on Mass Effect 2. And it's really interesting because, with regards to this, there's a character named Morden. Morden, to those who are familiar with Mass Effect's lore, is a Solarian. And in Solarian culture, their species are very in tune with social cues through body
Yeah.
language. And according to Morden, a Solarian cannot fake their body language when they're about to express or inquire about something that is a secret that they're not privy to, or information that they don't need to know, or gossip. It'll come out in their body language. Like they don't have to tell the other person, well, it's none of your business, or you shouldn't ask that, or it won't
Yeah.
benefit you or even harm you potentially if I share this information with you. No, it's all expressed through their body language, and they're fully in tune with that. We can have that same awareness, but it requires a certain level of consciousness to be able to observe that, to be able to pay attention to people's body language, right? Whereas it's standard for Solarians. And it's really
Yeah. Like we're,
interesting
we're
to
not.
observe that,
Mm, we're not taught how to do
how
that.
relevant that is. Yeah,
Yeah. We're really not. We're taught to somewhat communicate, but only in words. We're not really taught communication outside, unless you choose to go on and do studies in psychology and in areas that will teach you these things. When it comes to mainstream education, that's not the kind of stuff that they go into. It's only if you choose to learn that.
yeah. When it's so
Yeah.
fundamental to what it means to be human and to communicate with other people.
Hmm. Definitely.
Yeah. And we avoid these illusions, these fronts that people put up by really observing them and observing ourselves. People who take your questions about their behavior at times, especially when you're getting to know someone, as personal attacks, that's a clue to you that they're not really in complete integrity with who they are. And we've
Yeah.
observed that as well with other people that we've tried to get to know. When
Hmm.
we invite them to start reflecting on themselves a bit more, they take it as an attack personally.
Yeah. Because that's just who we are. That's the kind of people that we are. When we see things, we have to mention it. And we never do anything maliciously
Exactly.
to have them feel uncomfortable. For us, we just know that even when we may feel a little bit uncomfortable speaking about something, we understand the immense growth that comes from actually talking about that. And
Exactly.
so for us, we give our observations. And many times people have come back and told us that we're being judgmental. And it's like, hold up. but I'm not judging you on anything. I'm purely stating what I've observed. But a lot of people are just not ready to deep dive into those parts of themselves. And so they choose to just cut us off. And that's okay, because we only want to be in our close circle to be interacting with the genuine individuals because that's who we are. That's who we are. And that's, the only kind of people that we can be friends with is other people that are genuine and that, are willing to communicate with us openly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just,
Yeah, and
yeah.
we'll always put the invitation out there to take a closer look at why they do what they do or why they
Yeah.
carry or express themselves the way they do. And
Hmm.
if it's not welcomed, we leave it at that. It's really
Hmm.
as simple as that. The issue
Yeah.
is in prying and trying to
Yeah.
impose our opinions or how much we value sincerity and authenticity on
Hmm.
other people because I mean most people aren't comfortable and looking at
Yeah.
taking a closer look at how they do things. A lot of
Yeah.
people want to hear what they want to hear. They want to be
They
validated,
just want their stories
you know?
validated.
Exactly. They want their life story
Yeah.
validated, their feelings validated. When we're here to really get to know if that's something that you truly care about or value.
Hmm.
Is that really how you feel? Why do you
Yeah.
feel that way? You know?
Oh gosh, I mean, we do it with each other all the time.
Yeah, and we've grown immensely as a
All the
result of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, as a man,
exactly.
I can't tell you how much I've grown as a result of my conversations with Samantha, how much more mature I've
Mhm.
become as a man. And again, it's because I don't take anything personally. I'm always with fresh eyes, having a look
Yeah.
at the way I move, the way I carry myself, the way I feel,
Mhm.
the way I think about things
Yeah.
in the pursuit of truth, beauty,
Yeah.
and love in my life, because those are the things that I value more than anything. And I want
Mhm.
to embody all three in my life to the fullest extent possible.
Yeah.
And we're always going to encourage others to do the same. That's what our life is about. That's what this
Yes.
podcast is about.
Mhm.
It's having you question the way that you feel about things, the way you think about things in life, and really
Mhm.
consider whether your perspectives and the way that you're carrying yourself through life is bringing you what you truly desire, what will bring you the most fulfillment. And we do that with everyone else that we interact with because we just know how damn good it is, but we won't force it on anybody either.
No, of course not.
Yeah. And all of this segues perfectly into the next subheading, which reads superficial connections. Superficial connections are characterized by fleeting interactions and self serving motives. These individuals only reach out when they have a personal desire or need, such as financial gain, sexual attention, or momentary validation. Their interactions lack depth and sincerity, as their primary focus is their own instant gratification. In contrast, genuine individuals seek to connect with others on various occasions, simply to check in and genuinely care about their well being. They offer support and encouragement, actively pursuing their own goals while uplifting others. Genuine connections are based on mutual respect and a shared desire for meaningful conversations. Those that wish to connect with you authentically will not only come to you when they need or want something, they will want to connect with you on various occasions in a variety of ways, or purely just to see how you're doing. And again, you will only get what you give.
Mhm.
If you want people to be
Exactly.
genuine with you, you've got to be a genuine person in the way that you reach out, in the way that you are with others, the way that you treat other people.
Yeah.
You've got to put out that invitation first by being the example of what a caring individual looks and feels like, what a
Mhm.
present individual looks and feels like. And other people will see how good it feels to be that free, to be that caring. And they'll reciprocate that more often than not. But regardless of whether it is, that's just who
Mhm.
you are. and you'll settle for nothing less. You'll avoid a lot of superficial connections with other people that are only looking to take from you. Again, because you know who you are, you know what you're looking
Mhm.
for in other people as well. You're kind with everyone, but you don't go out of your way to spend time with people who only act superficially with you or treat you
Mhm.
superficially. And that saves you a world of drama
Oh,
and
it does.
unnecessary pain. And the article continues to read: reciprocity and support. Reciprocity is a vital aspect of authenticity, like we were just mentioning. Genuine individuals understand the value of reciprocal support and strive to be there for others while pursuing their own endeavors. They offer genuine assistance and encouragement, forming a symbiotic relationship that fosters growth and connection. Again, it's a give and take. We receive and reciprocate with other people. That's the basis of it, right?
Mhm.
You get what you give
Yeah.
every time. In contrast, insincere individuals often expect support without reciprocating it in equal measure. In other words, they take more than they give. Their interactions lack the genuine investment required to establish a deep and meaningful connection with you. Genuine connections thrive when both parties actively engage in supporting and uplifting one another. And again, when you have this understanding, you know when you're selling yourself short with your family, with your friends,
Mhm.
and when you continue to spend more time than you really want to with them, especially after seeing the way they treat you,
Mhm.
you're just insulting yourself.
Exactly.
And you ultimately have to make the decision to take a step back and look for what you truly desire in your connections with
Mhm.
other people.
And you have to accept them
Yeah,
for who they are.
exactly. You got to let them be. If that's who they
Mhm.
are, let them be as they are. You'll always be there because that's just the
Mhm.
person you are. But you're not a
Yeah.
doormat either.
No, exactly.
That's the strength that you find when you become more genuine to yourself. It's not just about being genuine to the world around you. You've got to be more genuine to yourself and who you truly are. That's the first person you got to be genuine to.
Yeah.
And then you start treating the rest of the world more authentically, more
Mhm.
true to yourself. And you expect nothing less because those are your standards. And again, a lot of the times, as the next subheading reads, projection and insecurity is something that plagues people who are insincere and disingenuous. And it reads: insecure individuals tend to project their fears and insecurities onto others. They interpret actions and words as personal attacks, reacting defensively rather than embracing open and honest communication that invite them to self-reflect. Again, that's what leads to maturity, is that
Yeah.
self-reflection that maybe they're not used to engaging in. Genuine individuals, however, understand that personal growth involves introspection and self-accountability. They don't let their own insecurities cloud their interactions and relationships. And we're able to avoid so many traps in our communication with others when we are able to see these things as they are when they come up when dealing with people. And to enjoy the rest of the article, we've got it posted on our Medium profile, along with other articles on several topics of discussion. And this has been such a fundamental episode because when we learn how to be true to ourselves, we start really tapping into the power of our spirit's ability to guide us in the way that will benefit us moving forward in life.
Yeah.
And
And we start to attract those same individuals into our lives as well.
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. And the next episode will be on the topic of Zen devilry and how to avoid harm being done to you by those who have a level of consciousness, who may seem authentic on the surface, but have their own agenda to ultimately take advantage of you and benefit themselves. And we'll dive into all of that in the next episode.
We appreciate you joining us, and until next time,
May you embody the way of TBL today in your own way.